The president of the Central Tibetan Administration, Sikyong Dr. Lobsang Sengye, has been formally invited to the State Department yesterday, a day after the United States government announced the appointment of a special coordinator for the Tibetan issues. This is the first time Sikyong was formally invited to the State Department for meetings. Let us talk more about his first official visit to the State Department, his meetings with the special coordinator for Tibetan issues, Robert Destro, the significance of this invitation extended by the State Department, and his take on China denouncing the appointment of the special coordinator. A day after the United States Secretary of State announced the appointment of Special Coordinator for Tibetan Issues, you were invited formally for the first time to the State Department building. Was the appointment of the Special Coordinator and your visit to the Washington, D.C. coordinated? What does this historic development mean for the Central Tibetan Administration and the Tibetan movement?
In a way, yes, because we knew about the appointment of this special coordinator for some time. And 3 weeks ago, before I left Dharamsala, we got a message saying, if we would like to meet Robert Destro, and then our Office of Tibet in DC was also approached. And obviously, we were happy to meet with him. And then our initial meeting was scheduled on Monday, and then it was postponed today. And today also it was postponed by 1 hour. So we had to do a bit of rescheduling so that to make sure that Robert Destro was appointed as the special coordinator, and then the Sikyong, I will be the first guest that he will be hosting in the State Department. So it's been 6 decades that the position of Sikyong has not entered or not allowed to enter the State Department. So, the first gesture effort by the, special coordinator on Tibetan issues, Robert Destro, and his staff was to, formally invite us inside the State Department with the approval of Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. So that says a lot about the U.S. government's commitment to the Tibetan cause and the Tibetan people.
Why did it take so long for the State Department to invite Sikyong for formal meetings? You have met with other personalities in the White House this time, right? Could you tell us a little bit about those meetings that took place in the White House too?
It's been 9 years in the making, because when I took the oath in 2011, in September, we sent a memo to the Office of Tibet in the US saying that, Sikyong will be visiting DC soon, and what are the things to do in appointments with congressmen, senators, and officials, and if possible, to visit inside the State Department, So that was September of 2011. Now we are here in October of 2020. Finally, it happened. So it was a step by step efforts. Obviously, I have met people and officials in the State Department, normally outside in restaurants, and sometimes they allow you to take photographs, sometimes they don't. And since last year, we've been taking photographs. They've been tweeting about our meetings as well. And, so finally, a historic meeting or development took place. So, which is a good thing for the Tibetan cause, because the U.S. government is, finally acknowledging the CTA and democratically elected leader, the Office of Sikyong. So, in I think several months ago, USAID or the US government decided to give direct funding to CTA, like any other government. And today, Sikyong has entered the State Department like any other government officials, which has independent status. So this is good.
Right. How did you manage to travel and hold meetings in New Delhi and Washington, D.C. amidst the COVID concerns?
We all are, and then I was also held up in Dharamsala for 6 months from March to September, and issuing guidelines after guidelines not to travel unless it's very, very essential, and to take all the precautions. These are the guidelines the Kasha has been issuing for all this time, and for me to travel uh, through the airports, with hundreds and thousands of people at airports, and you know, several hundred passengers in the plane, which is a bit of a uh, you know anxious moment, should I say. Having said that, I took all the precautions, and I mean, I washed my hands, I changed gloves, face masks, face shield, all that, and I tested in Dharamsala, tested in Delhi, and tested here in Boston. So all the results were negative. So far, so good. But having said that, my job is such that things needs to be done. So I had to meet people in Delhi for on important matters, and then in DC on very important matters. So what can I say? Work is work. So you have to get it done. So I'm glad meetings in Delhi were productive, and now the visit to DC was also productive. So this is a good thing. So it was worth the risk.
Right. Speaking about the Special Coordinator for Tibetan Issues, the earlier U.S. Special Coordinators for Tibetan Issues held the post of undersecretaries. Appeals have been made for the Special Coordinator to be someone holding the position of undersecretary by Tibet advocacy groups, including the International Campaign for Tibet recently. The new Special Coordinator today holds the position of an assistant secretary. What do you have to say on this?
Well, yes, the past several special coordinators were of the rank of undersecretaries, but the first one was not actually. Now we had this choice. The person nominated for the undersecretary position did not get confirmed by the Senate. And there was another person who was also talked about for in some issues, and he was also not confirmed. So now the choice is we had to wait and get no one or get assistant secretary. So State Department move ahead, uh, you know, um, delegating the office of special coordinator on Tibetan issues to the assistant secretary Robert Destro. So they went ahead, and we did made our point that it should be under secretary. But now that he's here, we should work together. So we welcome him. I think it's a good thing he's appointed, and I met him. He, has human rights background and background religious freedom, and he seems to care a lot about Tibet and Tibetan people. So he wants to get things done. So that way, I really congratulated him for the appointment, and also congratulate Secretary of State Mike Pompeo for taking this initiative, so that on Tibet matters things start rolling within the State Department and within the U.S. government.
Right. Since January 2017, the time when the post of the Special Coordinator's post remained vacant, the exiled Tibetans, Tibet supporters, human rights advocates have called for an immediate appointment of the Special Coordinator. Now that being achieved, what are your expectations with regards to the situation inside Tibet, especially taking into account the recent reports of mass increase in forced labor camps there? And what are your expectations regarding the possibility of a dialogue with the Chinese government in resolving the issue of Tibet?
As you know how government functions, so there are a lot of interagencies issues also that you have to deal with when it comes to Tibet. So unless there's someone holding the position and pushing it formally, things don't get done. Now that we have a special coordinator on Tibetan issues, his office can put forth and push Tibet-related agendas in the U.S. government. For example, Tibetan Policy and Support Act, funding for Tibetans, and to raise the issue of Tibet at human rights related organizations. Most importantly, contact and seek support from different governments. We can approach different governments from outside and push them. But when the US government does something, people notice and people respond. So this is where the special coordinator office is very important, because they are mandated to work on Tibet issues interagencies within the US government will also come together, and with other government also, the special coordinator will be very, very helpful in pushing the issue. So yes, on dialogue with the Chinese government, and yes, with the 500,000 Tibetans, being in labor camps slash concentration camps, this will be formally raised and formally, advocated by the special coordinator office. And I've, invited him to visit Dharamsala, and hopefully he will visit Dharamsala soon.
Yes, and China yesterday reacted to this decision of the United States by calling this an act out of political manipulation to interfere in China's internal affairs and to destabilize Tibet. What is your take on that comment made by the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson?
Simla, you're right. I just, landed in Boston from Washington, D.C. It's almost midnight, and then I have 8 a.m. meeting, online meeting with USAID tomorrow morning. But work is work, I have to do what needs to be done. So it's not surprising that the Chinese government responded that way. Actually, I was talking to the special coordinator, Robert Destro, and we were laughing about it. The fact that Chinese government has the audacity to say that this appointment is a political manipulation to destabilize China and especially interfere in the internal matters of China. I mean, Chinese government is interfering in internal matters of so many countries all over the world, and now to someone appointed to raise valid issues about Tibet, is considered an interference in internal matters. So of course that's illogical and unacceptable. And I frankly said yes, we welcome special coordinator Tibetan issues to raise Tibet issues with the Chinese government, to press them to have dialogue with envoys of the Dalai Lama to resolve the issue of Tibet based on middle way approach, and also raise the Tibet issue with other governments so that we get our support and we get our due recognition. And Special Coordinator Robert Destro will be doing just that. And so I really congratulated him on his appointment and welcome him into the Tibetan community and Tibetan freedom struggle. And I do believe he will be an ardent advocate for the Tibetan people.
Thank you, Gung, for giving us this opportunity to interview you regarding this historic development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tuchena.